This edition of the Ridley Report is brought to you by libertyactivism.info. I'm standing here with Shelley from Antrim, New Hampshire, who has a story to tell me about the wiretapping law being abused in New Hampshire. I'm at the State House right now, and we're about to go testify on a bill that would make it clear that we have the right to videotape and audiotape police officers out in the open and public while they're on duty. But Shelley, you were telling me that the police, they're not respecting this right, and that we need the law in order to clarify that we have that right. Tell me what happened to your family.
Well, there's some police that don't respect our rights. There, of course, are police that do. My son was driving down a very narrow lake road, and there's one section where there's sort of a drop-off down to the water, so people automatically move over to the left. Well, he did that, and this police officer pulled him over. And my son was a little bit concerned as to why he was pulled over, because everybody does what he just did. And when he was pulled over, the police officer came over and looked in the window and saw my son's little handheld tape recorder and said, "Is that on?" And my son picked it up and said no, stuck it out the window and said, "It is now," pressed the button, and was immediately arrested for a felony B wiretap, handcuffed, taken in. It was eventually null prost when we went to court.
What does null prost mean?
They basically don't prosecute. No
but you ended up having to
prosecution.
spend a lot on lawyers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And when did this happen?
I believe that was in 75 or 76.
Oh, 1975.
I'm sorry. No, 2005.
Oh, 2005. Okay,
sorry,
right.
2006.
Okay, 2005. So this was before the Michael Gannon case, I guess, the other famous wiretapping arrest.
It was probably pretty close to that, because I remember
Yeah.
reading that story and going, oh, it's not just here.
Right. Well, now, you told me that your son has autism, is that correct?
Yeah, he has Asperger's syndrome, which is in the autism spectrum.
So I take it he's high functioning and able to drive and everything,
Oh,
but
yeah,
the police
he's
still
very
were
high functioning.
they were still picking on an autistic young man then.
Well, yeah, it was ludicrous.
Wow. Well, what do you hope to get out of this bill?
I just want clarified so that nobody else is put through this, so that if there's a police officer who has too much of a bully quotient in his personality, he can't abuse the law. And what's so silly is, if anything happens, the police have to give the court supposedly a verbatim transcript of what transpired. And certainly an audio recording would have made it a lot easier. So.
All right. Shelley from Antrim, thanks for standing up for your rights.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
And I'd like to reiterate what Shelley said. Many of the cops in New Hampshire are very cool about being audio taped. I would say in roughly 70 to 80% of the cases that I've run into where I'm videotaping, the cops handle it pretty well, but there are occasions where they attempt to intimidate me into turning off the camera. It's Dave Ridley signing out for RidleyReport.com from the New Hampshire State House this February 19th, 2009. In fighting for freedom, some approaches work, others suck. LibertyActivism.info is a repository of your success stories. Tell us what works best for you and find out what has worked for others. LibertyActivism.info